Welcome to Courtroom Explained, where we compare how the same laws can produce very different outcomes depending on evidence, procedure, and jury findings. This content is for educational purposes only and not legal advice. Today's episode compares two celebrity tax prosecutions, Wesley Snipes and Ja Rule, both charged under federal tax law, but with notably different results. According to court records, both cases involved substantial income and failures to comply with federal tax obligations. However, the legal theories and procedural paths diverged in important ways. One key difference was the charges presented to juries. Snipes faced both felony tax evasion charges and misdemeanor counts of willful failure to file tax returns. Jurors ultimately acquitted him of felony evasion, but convicted him on 3 misdemeanor counts, reflecting a finding that he failed to file returns, but that intent to evade taxes was not proven beyond a reasonable doubt. In contrast, Ja Rule's case resolved through a guilty plea rather than a trial. He admitted to willfully failing to file tax returns over multiple years. Because there was no jury trial, the court did not weigh competing interpretations of intent. Instead, sentencing proceeded from the admitted conduct. A second important factor was defense strategy. Snipes challenged the government's case at trial, including arguments about his beliefs regarding tax law. Ja Rule accepted responsibility early, which courts typically consider during sentencing under federal guidelines. A third distinction involved sentencing discretion. Snipes received a federal prison sentence tied to misdemeanor convictions after a jury verdict. Ja Rule also received incarceration, but his sentence reflected plea negotiations, guideline calculations, and acceptance of responsibility adjustments. The outcomes show that while both defendants were punished under the same tax statutes, the paths differed. One case turned on jury evaluation of intent, while the other turned on admissions and plea-based sentencing. One clear legal lesson from this comparison is that federal tax law is applied consistently, but outcomes depend heavily on proof of intent, procedural choices, and whether a case is resolved by trial or plea. The law may be the same, but how it is applied can vary significantly. What does this comparison suggest about the role of juries versus plea agreements in shaping criminal outcomes? Share your thoughts in the comments, and if you value calm, comparative explanations of how courts apply the law, consider subscribing to Courtroom Explained.